Next up is Carrie Greener, Julian Van Winkle's daughter, to talk about her business, Pappy and Company. Well, Carrie Greener is with us from Pappy and Company, one of Julian Van Winkle's daughters. And Carrie, you're triplets, is that right?
Yes, crazily enough, it's fun information for other people. I guess we're identical triplets.
Typical questions like who's older and all that kind of stuff. But you guys started a company 7 years ago, Pappy and Company. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, we started about 7 years ago with my two sisters. At the time, I was in between jobs. Louise was pregnant with twins, I think, and Chenault, our third sister, who had the idea with us, she was doing interior design, and so we started the business together, but Louise and I run it and have kind of taken charge in the last 7 years. But we started mainly to fill the need for promotional products associated with this special, well-known brand that we found ourselves being a part of. And so, there's a famous brand out there in the world usually has like a cool hat or t-shirt you can wear to represent it. And so we realized that that was just something missing in the story of our family's business. So we started that way, and then it's just quickly evolved into other cool things where now we really focus more on specialty products. Like we have a whole barrel-aged food line. Our best sellers are actually cigars. We're in a partnership with Drew Estate, which is a lot of what we do with a lot of our products is amazing partnerships. So we work with other independent companies who make an exceptional product. So together bring something really special that you can't find anywhere else. So that's really been what's driving us forward, are these really cool partnerships and really neat products that are really special.
Do you sell products that are not associated with Pappy's too?
Not associated. Yeah, we sell all kinds of things in regards to, our barrel-aged maple syrup is aged in our retired Pappy barrels, but it's not, I think what's cool about what we're doing is we're making products that even people who aren't obsessed with bourbon or obsessed with our family's business or brand would appreciate and enjoy. So we're just making quality products like a hot sauce that, again, is aged in our retired barrels, but if you're a hot sauce lover and you appreciate good hot sauce, then you'd love our product. So we're doing stuff like that, but it always seems to be products that are inspired by, even if they're not totally closely related to our family business, they're definitely products that are inspired by our heritage and just the things that we know and like.
For this dinner tonight, we sent folks a couple mixed drinks to start from Buffalo Trace, the Stag Junior Manhattan and an Eagle 10 Old Fashioned, and we have one of our bartenders showing them how to make the drinks. But I don't know if someone's not so good at it. You have drink mixes that they can buy, right?
Yeah, so one partnership is with Bitter Milk out of Charleston, South Carolina, and they just found themselves making delicious craft cocktails and realized that anybody should be able to make these at home. And so we sell a barrel-aged old-fashioned mixer. So you literally can just add bourbon and the Bitter Milk old-fashioned cocktail mixer and maybe a little orange rind if you want, and ice, and it just tastes like someone's made you the best cocktail you've ever had. So that's fun, and that's been amazing, actually. How well that's done this year with COVID. Everybody's at home making better drinks than they ever have, I think.
We have a restaurant, so we're scared about that. People are getting used to staying at home. We're going to have to try to get them back into the restaurant. This dinner tonight that we're doing...
They'll be ready to get out.
Say it again, Carrie.
Oh, I just said, I'm sure they'll be ready to get out. I'm ready to go out and have some good food and someone else make my cocktail, even though it's nice to know how to make them at home.
I suppose if they use one of your mixes, do you have a Manhattan mix? I want to ask, do you have a Manhattan mix?
We have a recipe, actually, so we don't sell a pre-mixed product, but my dad has a recipe. He might tell you about it, but he calls it his Manhattan. But it's just a little twist on a traditional Manhattan.
Okay, so I'll tell you, if you want, maybe we can put up a graphic of that recipe if you want to. Maybe people try it at home. Listening and reading. I should say reading, but sometimes while driving around, I listen to it. But the Pappy Land book, there was a part that said you and your sisters were arrested for walking under the influence. Is that true?
Yeah. It's funny how many texts and emails I've gotten on that. That they never knew that we got arrested walking. But yeah, we weren't hooligans, but we definitely were teenagers, and we were doing the responsible thing, which was walking while drinking. So unfortunately, the cops didn't think so, but luckily our parents did, and we didn't get in trouble. They thought we were completely appropriate and just doing everything we were supposed to at 16 or whatever age we were. So it was more of a hassle for them, because then they had to deal with us, because they had to drive us to the courthouse. But it was funny. I forgot that made the book.
It kind of surprised me, because I was like, wow. I figured in Delaware you'd probably get in trouble for a lot of drinking stuff, but I figured down in Kentucky they'd be a little more lax, I should say.
Well, maybe in Kentucky. We were actually in Michigan, where we go in the summer, and it was like a little resort community, and I think they were just bored or something, needed something to do to come after just kids walking around town. It's funny.
When you were growing up, there was a point, I guess, when your dad took over the company and was working really hard to save the company and grow the company, but to make sure that I guess you guys could go on vacation. That there was a point in that book where he said, I guess when Wild Turkey, is that what it is? Said they wouldn't sell him any more bourbon, and he didn't know if you guys go on that vacation anymore. Growing up, were you shielded from all that? Did you know that there was a possibility that there wouldn't be more Pappy Van Winkle, or did you have an idea that small business is hard sometimes?
Yeah, we really didn't know the ins and outs at all, and not because I think they intentionally kept it from us, but I think we just never. It was just the goings-on of trying to run a small family business and resurrect it, and so I think those types of things probably happened throughout his career until he finally had success. But we knew he worked really hard, and we'd go to the bottling plant with him, and we'd literally see the blood and the sweat that he'd come home with from the laborious job that it was, because he was literally doing everybody's job. So he was, driving the old truck down to the rick house, picking up the barrels, dumping the barrels. He did the whole process, and then he literally only had help with bottling it. And he would even get the pallets ready to ship out. So it was absolutely crazy. But so we saw all that, and we saw how hard he was working, but we never knew the risk involved, and we never knew really what his end goal was. And honestly, I think because he just knew that all he knew was how to work, and to work hard and do what he knew was right. And that's what he knew, obviously, in his gut was right. And so he never wavered from that, but obviously had all of those struggles throughout. But I think it was pretty amazing for us, because we saw how hard he worked, and he didn't even have to tell us. And we also lived a very modest life. So we were never, we had everything we needed and wanted. Obviously, we never got a go-kart or a trampoline, but, we had a great life, and all of our needs were met. And so looking back, I don't think we would have ever wanted any more. And I think it obviously did so much for us as business owners, and, seeing how we want to raise our own kids, seeing the way we were raised in all those ways that, but so I think we kind of just knew just enough, honestly. We could tell he was stressed, and I'm sure my mom showed actually that his stress more than he did, but, cause he just got quiet. But yeah. Was
there a point for you? Was it high school, post college, that you realized, hey, it's the brand's working out. It's kind of taking off. It's getting pretty hot. and my dad's
I
hard work
think
paid off.
to an extent, I realized that Dad was having success, but it never really was a big topic or a big thought, honestly. It was just a really natural progression that, I think that's just kind of the way we live in anyway, that it never was a thing. Until other people started making it a thing. And then you realize it's a thing, but not until someone else tells you it is.
Well, I'll ask you a couple follow-up questions from that then. Do you appreciate the anonymity of your married name?
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah, it's nice.
And not living back home, I guess. Where are you located now?
I live in Sun Valley, Idaho. Yeah.
So maybe your neighbors know. And I just as a psyche question, I was always wondering if someone comes to you and asks if you could just happen to snag them a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, if they ask if it's for a charity, do they feel less guilty doing so?
Probably.
Are they less shy?
I think
at
my
least?
friends now. What?
I said, are they less shy at least?
Yeah, it's either that it's unfortunate that, of course, we would love to help all those friends and, quite frankly, strangers daily who reach out with amazing causes because they're all worthy. But it is funny how friends now know not to even ask, because once they know how little I get personally, it makes sense why they shouldn't get a bottle either.
I can't remember if you told me or if Louise told me. I think top selling is cigars. Is that right?
Yeah. It was one of our first collaborations, and obviously it made sense for one because Pappy was an avid cigar smoker, but obviously the famous label of him smoking a cigar just makes a lot of sense to create that product. But we wouldn't have what we have without our cigar partner Drew Estate, who makes a really special cigar, and it's really different, but it's very quite likable by most everybody who smokes it. But I won't go into all the details unless you really want, because it's got a special blend that's associated with.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I know just we have about 150 people here tonight for the dinner, and off the top of my head, I know a dozen folks that would be interested in a cigar. And in fact, one guy has brought one with him tonight. And in Delaware, talk about like if you can't get it, and there's always a liquor store that's upset that they can't get more Pappies or something like that. At least we can go to Pappy and Company and get cigars and other memorabilia. So in Delaware, it's pretty cool for folks to get the Pappy cigar. So yeah, if you could have a second and you could talk to us about it, and I think that would be nice for the folks.
Yeah. Okay, so we have two different blends. One is called our Pappy Van Winkle Tradition, and it's exactly that. It's just a really traditional cigar that I can't speak is specific about as our barrel fermented, which is really special because part of the blend comes from Kentucky fire-cured tobacco, which is grown in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And then it's fire-cured in the barn after the tobacco's dried, which is usually traditionally used for like pipe tobacco. Smoked tobacco is traditionally not used in premium cigars. So that's already something a little bit different. And then they ship that fire-cured tobacco to St. James Parish, a little parish outside of New Orleans, Louisiana, where the Perique process is done using our bourbon barrels. So traditionally cigars are made of fermented tobacco, but usually they're fermented in pilones, which are literally just piles of tobacco laid strategically in mounds, and then over time the tobacco naturally ferments, and that's how you get that really leathery, pretty texture of a tobacco leaf. But they recreate that process in bourbon barrels. So it's called the Perique process, which is specific to this region of the country, and it's the only area in the country that does this. And generally there's also a Perique tobacco grown in that St. James Parish, Louisiana. But anyway, we take the fire-cured tobacco and ferment it in our bourbon barrels, and they crank down on the bourbon barrel to create the pressure with huge cranks, metal cranks. And the tobacco ferments for a year, and then they ship it to Nicaragua where they're processed into our cigars and then shipped to us. So they're really different, but likable, like I said, and just extra special.
We talked about cigars, and then your top other categories are food. So I guess maple syrup and some of the drink mixes. Are there other food also that you sell?
We have a couple chocolates. We have bourbon balls and a brittle made with cacao nibs that were aged in our retired bourbon barrels. And then, we have a barrel-aged coffee and a few other things. And then the third best category for us is barware. We have some wholesale business, so we have some decent size online accounts, but generally speaking, that only takes care of like 17% of our business. So we're mostly direct to consumer online, and we don't sell on Amazon or anything like that.
You've had the business now for 7 years. Is it going okay? Have you experienced some sales growth? Do you feel like it's directly tied to the popularity of the product? Because I think we've noticed, at least here in Delaware, that over the past 7 years, the Pappy brand has has grown exponentially, even though it was already famous. And is there anything that you learned growing up from a small business perspective that has helped you in this endeavor?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's something that I don't think I realized what it was all about until after I'd been in business for a while. But looking back and kind of understanding what's all these generations before us have done and what we're doing without realizing it, but now understanding it and using it to our benefit, is really just thinking about the quality of the product. It sounds kind of cliche, knowing that's who we are, but it's so true. And I think if you want to have success, you really can't look just at the money and where the growth you want to see and how much money you want to make. Because I think what I realized looking at this book and, seeing what my dad did, like, he wasn't thinking about the money, even though he needed the money and he needed to make a living. He really was just focused on the product. And obviously, luckily, he had a great palate to help resurrect his business. But for us, we've done the same. I think when we started this business, same thing. We needed a job. It was a way for us to get involved with the family business and feel inspired by the work that we were doing. But we never set out with a goal to make a lot of money. So I think that's the biggest thing for us, what I've realized, and what we naturally, without even realizing, have just taken from those before us. And what we're doing is just really focus on the product, and the rest will come. And we're definitely finding success, and it's really cool to see where we started and where we've come. But I honestly think if we looked at the money as our main priority, we would not be where we are today, for sure.
Well, I really appreciate that. And there's a lot of folks joining us tonight that are small business owners. We have everything from construction and mechanical engineers to other restaurateurs, and I think we can all relate to what you're saying. The one thing I don't know that we necessarily can relate to is, though, I guess how famous your family has gotten or has been, and did you feel a sense of pressure to live up to that when you were opening your merchandise business?
Yeah, honestly, I've never felt pressure. I definitely feel what's the word? It's a responsibility, for sure, because we're using our family's name to make a living. So that's a big task, I guess. But I think we just keep our heads down and just do what we know is right, and we do it the right way, or at least we try to. You can't be perfect at anything, but as long as you just try to stay true as you can to who you are and what you know is right and what you want to do and who you want to be, then, like I said, I think the rest is easier if you just keep that strong foundation. And for us, for some reason, it seems easier. And I think maybe just because we have such a solid family heritage that it's really easy to stay on track because we have so much history. So I think that's one thing. Well, there's many things that we have to be fortunate for in regards to starting a business and everything else. But
is there anything this year that Delaware folks can look for, any new products from Pappy and Company?
Yep, we're excited to launch a barrelwood smoked food line soon. So starting with smoked fish, and then also we're starting to barrel age nuts. So we're in the R&D stage of that, and so those are really exciting. So more food.
Well, Carrie, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you ever make it to Delaware, you have cousins in Philadelphia, you said?
Yes.
All right. Well, if you go out,
Well, thank you.
yeah, if you go out and visit them, we're only 20 minutes south of the airport. You can drop down, cross the state line, and visit another state. We'd love to have you here in Delaware.
Well, it seems like you all have an amazing thing going, and I'm envious of your special meal. That's one thing I'm lacking.
There you go. We'll
really good food.
Get you some. We'll get you some dark chocolate gelato. We're sending some down to your dad when he gets back from his trip, and
yum.
We'll share some with you also. So thank you so much, Carrie. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much.